Everyone's waiting for snow, kids and grown-ups alike.
For this project, we will need a size K crochet hook, a yarn needle for weaving in ends, a little stitch marker, and a pair of scissors. And for yarn, we have a couple of options. Option number one, we can use a size 5 bulky yarn, and you can get a snowball that looks like this. This one is actually the buttercream angel hair, so I don't know if you can tell, but it's a little bit furry and fluffy. Now, if you don't have a size 5 bulky, you can actually also use a size 4 medium weight yarn. And for that, you're just going to use 2 strands held together. And that is how I made this little snowball. So for this one, I actually used the twinkle yarn that has a little bit of sparkle to it and a regular yarn. And so together it makes my snowball just a little bit sparkly. So we also need stuffing to stuff our snowball with. So for this video, I'm going to show you what it's like to use the 2 strands held together. To show you how easy it is, and because I think most people probably have medium weight yarn in their stash, so I'll show you how easy it is to use that. So starting out, I'm just going to make a magic circle. So I've got my X here, my 2 lines here. I'm going to grab my hook, just going to grab that second little line, and then I'm going to lock my magic circle and pull my fingers out. Now I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to do 6 single crochets in my magic circle. So there's 1, 2, here's 3. So you can see I'm holding the 2 strands of yarn together, so I'm just treating them like one big bulky strand of yarn. So there's 3 single crochets. Here's 4 and 5 and 6. Now I'm going to pull my magic circle closed. And for this pattern, I'm not going to be doing a slip stitch and a chain 1 to start each row. Instead, I'm just going to start the next row just by, starting the next row on top of the next stitch. So in this next stitch, we're going to do 2 single crochets, and that's going to start row 2. Let me try to get into the stitch here. Okay, so here's 1 single crochet, and here is 2 single crochets. And now this is why we need our stitch marker, because you can see it's really hard to see where your rows start and end because we're just going to be working it in that spiral. Just gives it a smoother look. So I'm going to go into that first single crochet that I made in this row, okay? And we're just going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So the next one is going to get 2 single crochets. There's a 1 and a 2, and the next one gets, make sure I'm grabbing both strands of yarn there. There's a 1 and a 2, and then the next one, a 1 and 2, next one, a 1 and a 2, and of course we should have 12 single crochets at the end of this round 2. So let's double count just to make sure. So our first one is here, that's marked. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. Okay, so now we are starting round 3. So in round 3, we're going to do a single crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then a single crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. So I'm going to take this little stitch marker out and do my 1 single crochet in my first stitch. And then I'm going to place that stitch marker so that I know that that is my first one. And then in the next one, I'm doing 2 single crochets. There's a 1 and a 2. And in the next one, I'll do 1 single crochet. And in the next one, 2 single crochets. And in the next one, 1 single crochet. In the next one, 2 single crochets. So we also need stuffing to stuff our snowball with. All right, 1 single crochet and 2 single crochets. I guess technically you could stuff it with yarn, right? So I suppose if you don't have stuffing, you can stuff it with whatever. An old sock, a grocery bag, I don't know, some old fabric. 1 single crochet, and in the next one 2 single crochets, and that brings us back to our very first single crochet. So now we're going to remove this little stitch marker here so that I can put 1 single crochet in here. Oops. 1 single crochet in my first single crochet, and 1 single crochet in the next one, and then 2 in the next one. 1 and a 2. But before I get too far, I want to place that stitch marker back in there. So I did 2 in this one, and then a 1 and a 1, so that's my first one. Let's go back and mark that. There we go. So that will be the beginning of this row. So here's 1 stitch in the next single crochet, 1 stitch in the next single crochet, and then 2 in the next one. 1 in the next one, 1 in the next one, 2 in the next one. Easy peasy, and we're just going to continue that around. A 1, 1, and a 1, 2, and a 1, and a 1, and a 1, 2. And at the end of this row, we should have 24 single crochets. And a 1, and a 1, 2. Now this brings us to row 5. Now for rows 5 through 8, so that is 4 rows, we're going to work evenly. So it's just 24 stitches around. So here's my first one, and I'm going to mark it. So I'm just going to work 1 single crochet into every single crochet around for row 5, and then I will do the same thing for row 6, row 7, and row 8. So once you have worked your 4 rows evenly around, I will meet you back at that first little stitch marker and show you how we are going to do row 9.
Santa, can you please make it snow tomorrow? 'Cause for Christmas Day, everything should be white.
All right, so I am working row 8. So the last row, my 4th row of evenly worked rows. And I'm almost back to my little stitch marker. There we go, and now I'm back to my first stitch. So now I'm ready to start row 9. So for 9, whoop, I'm gonna remove this little stitch marker. Now I'm going to do 2 single crochets, and then I'm gonna show you guys an invisible decrease. So first, let me put my 2 single crochets. Oh, sorry, so 1 single crochet in each one, not 2 in that first stitch. So 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then we're gonna do an invisible decrease. So let me go back though and mark that single crochet. All right, so this is row 9, and I've just done 1 single crochet in each of the first 2 single crochets. Now invisible decrease. So I'm going to go into the front loop only of my next stitch, and then into the front loop only of the stitch after that. I'm going to yarn over and draw through both of those, and then yarn over and draw through those 2 loops. And that is an invisible decrease. So now I'm just going to repeat that. I'm going to do single crochet, invisible decrease. So find my next stitch, single crochet in that, then in the next one, single crochet, and now invisible decrease. So front loop only, yarn over, draw through, and then yarn over, draw through the 2. And then repeat. So single crochet, and then front loop only, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, and just repeat that around. And at the end of this row, row 9, we will have 18 little single crochets. And keep going, single crochet, oh dear, single crochet in this one, single crochet in this one, invisible decrease. So I love this, and I thought of this because I live in a place where it never snows, so we really can't have snowball fights where I live. So I thought it would be fun to make little plush ones so we could have pretend snowball fights in our house. I also was trying to think of, okay, here's my last invisible decrease. I was trying to think of something I could stuff this with that would make it like crinkly and noisy, because it would be kind of a fun dog toy for my dogs. And I was thinking maybe a grocery bag, you know, a plastic grocery bag. It'd be a good way to recycle a grocery bag, you know, to reuse it. Yarn over, pull through 2, but it would also make cool crinkly sounds. I think my dogs might like it, but I don't know if I want my dogs eating my snowballs. I haven't thought about it yet. Haven't fully thought about it. Okay, now at this point, so we've done row 9. I'm going to tuck in the ends from my beginning, and we're not going to quite start stuffing yet. We still have a big opening, so we can do one more row before we start putting our stuffing in our snowball. So this is row 10, and for row 10, we're going to do a single crochet and then a single crochet invisible decrease again. So this time it's just 1 single crochet and then a decrease, and then 1 single crochet and then a decrease. So I'm going to take out my stitch marker and do a single crochet and then replace my little stitch marker. And now we're going to do that invisible decrease. So front loop only, yarn over, draw through those 2 front loops, and yarn over, draw through 2, and then 1 single crochet, and then front loop only, yarn over, draw through the loops, yarn over, draw through 2, and then single crochet, and then front loop only, draw through the front loops, draw through your 2 loops, single crochet, and at the end of this row you should have 12 single crochets. Oh, whoop, front loop, yarn over, draw through, yarn over, draw through, and then here we go. I saw a cute little thing too. It was a Dollar Tree DIY where somebody made a bunch of snowflakes, and then they made a little sign, or snowballs rather, sorry, snowballs. And then they made a little sign, like a little chalkboard sign that said, "Snowballs 10 cents," and it was in kind of a farmhouse style basket. I thought that was really cute too. I might do that in my house for just a cute little Christmas decoration. All right, I'm doing my last invisible decrease. There we go. And now at this point, I'm thinking we can stuff our snowball. So grab whatever you got to stuff it with. I have just some stuffing here. It's actually old quilt batting, so anything that's fluffy will work. You could, seriously, you could use old fabric, old socks, whatever you want. You really could just use old yarn scraps if you want, or get a yarn ball and stuff it. I have 2 little boys, and I'm thinking that snowball fights in our house could get pretty aggressive, and so I stuffed my snowballs really lightly so that they're really soft, okay? So that if somebody gets a snowball in the eye, it's not like a slush ball. It's not gonna hurt that bad. It's just gonna bounce right off. But you stuff your snowballs as firmly as you would like. I think if they're only decoration and nobody's really gonna be throwing them at each other, then I guess you could just stuff them really hard if you want to. But mine will definitely be getting thrown, so I'm just going to stuff them lightly. Okay, so there we go. Once I feel like my snowball is stuffed to the firmness that I like, I think it could be a little stiffer than that. But once it is as firm as you like it, then we are going to continue on to row 11. And row 11 is just going to be all single crochet invisible decreases, 6 of them, okay? I think that's probably good, huh? I don't know. I want it stuffed enough to where it keeps its roundness, but not so stuffed that it's gonna hurt somebody. Okay, actually I think that's pretty good. Okay, now let's get back to crocheting. So pick up our 2 little loops here. Now we're going to remove this little marker, push the stuffing down so I don't catch it with my hook, and now we're going to do front loop only, and a front loop only, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So there's 1. You can mark this or you can just count them. We know we need 6 invisible decreases. Okay, so next, let's see, let's find our front loop only. And front loop only, yarn over, pull through those front loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Next one, here's our 3rd invisible decrease. Yarn over, pull through the front loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And that was our 4th one. It's hard to count when I'm talking. I guess it's good that I placed a stitch marker there. Here we go. And then, okay, this one must be our 5th one. And then last one, insert front loop, insert front loop, yarn over, pull through front loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yay! And now we're gonna pull this loop out to give us a little bit of yarn here. We're going to take our scissors, cut, leaving a little bit of length so that we can stitch up our snowball, the little hole in the top. There we go, and now with my yarn needle, just going to run this thread through there so that I can stitch up my snowball. And you can do this however you like. I probably do it differently every time. Sometimes I run my needle through the stitches and sometimes I go across and just make an X, but no matter how you do it, you just want to close it all up so that your stuffing doesn't come out of your ball. So this time, let's see, I think I'll go across to the farthest stitch and then go to the one next to it and then go across again and to the one next to it. There we go. And once that is all stitched up, you can just take your yarn and run it all the way down through your snowball and pull that end out somewhere and then just trim it off. Oh dear. There we go. And you've got a fun little snowball that doesn't freeze your hands. There we go. Yay.
For Christmas Day, Santa, won't you make it so I can make angels in the snow? Conditions are perfectly cold, so come on already.